Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the news section. And in the very first video of this news section, we'll start slowly and we are going to talk about the APIs. And chances are very high that whatever you are creating, you will be interacting somehow with some kind of API. And interacting with API is almost exactly the same. The data that you receive is always different, but apart from that, rest of the things always remains the same. So we're going to talk about that, and I've created a new project using Create React App, and it's going to say as API Basics. So that is going to be our seventh project that we'll be doing. So let me just show you what the APIs are and how you can interact with the API in the React. In fact, there are a couple of options. Now, first of all, the API that we'll be talking in here is going to be the Reddit API. Now, in case you are not aware of the Reddit is kind of a social media where you can spend a lot of time without even caring about what time you have spent there. So that's what it is. And it's basically a JSON based object that is being displayed, and that looks like a complete mess. And this is what you are getting, and you have to just filter out data from itself. Now, there are a couple of other APIs as well, but this one is pretty complicated. Like there is one openweathermap.org where you can find out about the weather maps and all of that. There is an API as well. You need to log in to get the API data there. So basically it also gives you almost exactly the same things. So there we go, a simple JSON there. So this is also exactly the same as this guy, because this is also a JSON object being returned, and this is also a JSON object. Simply this is much more complicated and this is much more simple. There is one more that is a random API, random API.me, I guess. And I completely forgot the name of that. Yep, it's randomapi.com. Okay, I missed that. Nope, it's not this one. Random API me, randomme.api, randomuser.me. Come on, how could I miss that? So this is again a pretty easy. And every time you just call it, it generates random data about name, email, all of these things. So every time you're gonna reload this, it's gonna give you some random things, like this is the email right now. If I just reload that, it's gonna give me some another email there and random photos. So once you learn about dealing up with the one kind of API, it's gonna be just a matter of time that you'll be learning about others as well. Okay. Now, obviously, we don't read the APIs in here. So select all of that, copy that, and go to a website known as the JSON-editor-online.org and paste everything in here, and then click on this guy. And this is going to give you this thing. Okay. So reading the JSON is not at all a sensible thing in here. So obviously, we use some kind of JSON beautifier, which can put the things in the syntax. So first of all, we are getting an object there. That is important. And in the object, we are getting a data in here. And inside the data, we have got a name as children, which is an array. So obviously, once we reach this children, we can loop through using .map and can display the stuff like again, in here, there is a data and tons of things. We'll walk around with these things later on. But our goal is to display some of the threads in here, and we are going to work with that. I hope the API basics is clear and you are cleared about what we are about to do in here. So let's go back into the terminal and cd into the API basics. Looks good. And we need to install a couple of modules there. So one of the module is Axios, and I got a few problems with the Axios in the past, so that's why it's the queries there. But again, it's pretty remarkable NPM there. And you can see some of the examples being made. We are going to use exactly almost the same thing. So one method of dealing up with the APIs and web-based request is Axios. And we have others as well. I'll talk about them later on, but right now let's focus on the Axios. And let's go there. And there is one more actually, Super Agent, which is quite popular as well again. And there we go. This is the Super Agent. Again, a simplest thing to deal up, almost exactly the same. Right now, let's just go and work on with the Axios. So let's go there, and we're gonna say npm install Axios, which is pretty small library in itself, but does pretty big job for us. Okay, as you can see, this is pretty quick and easy. And we're going to open up an Atom instance in here. So Atom dot. And there we go, our Atom opens up everything for us. And for this example, I haven't written any CSS, but basically what we'll be doing is doing everything inside a new component, that is for sure. So let's just get rid of that and set up everything in this video itself. So click on the new, and we're going to call this as simply API call.js, of course. And this is going to have a simple import from React and component from React. Looks good. And rcom for the component, API call. And I hope I'm not typing too much fast there, because you have been doing this quite a lot of times. So I think this is okay now. So we are going to do an export default of API call. Okay, looks good. And we're going to say I am from API call, or calls. Means the same. And now let's just call this component API call and close that. Looks pretty damn good. And we're going to do an npm start there to make sure that everything is up and running. And we haven't done anything. It should just give us a blank plate there and saying, okay, I forgot to import the things. Okay, let's go there, and I forgot to import. And let's just import API call from API call. Looks good now. And it's compiling again, and it's failed to compile again. I don't know what the reason is. API call looks pretty solid to me, but did I forgot something in here? And looks pretty good to me. Let's just see what we are missing in there. And it says module not found. Oh, how can it be? How can they not found the module there? And did I API call.js looks okay. Maybe some typo is there. I'm missing something. Oops, I forgot a dot slash there. Sometimes these things happen even to the best of us. Okay, I'm from API call. So it took a little bit while to set up the things, but I think it is okay to sometimes see that yes, even the experienced programmers get into the error. Now, one more thing that we'll be doing, not in here. I should gather myself up again. And one thing that we'll be doing is importing the Axios. And it is pretty simple. We are going to say import Axios from Axios. And there we go. So now things are ready. Obviously, it's going to complain me in the terminal that, hey, Axios is not being used. You have imported. Okay, that is completely okay right now. Now we will use it in the future videos. So now let's go ahead and try to create a very simple thing, and we'll be using basically lifecycle components, so that whenever the page is being loaded, we are gonna get some subreddits from the Reddit. So that is gonna be pretty cool. Let's move into the next video and do everything there.